Bom dia, Sol, bom dia, planeta Terra, bom dia, Via Láctea, bom dia, Universo, bom dia, Multiverso, bom dia, Pluriverso, bom dia a mim que aqui estou. E esse é um vídeo currículo. Eu estou aqui distribuindo o meu currículo de professor de inglês à cidade de São Carlos, interior de São Paulo, São Carlos, estado de São Paulo. Irei fazer aqui uma demonstração de como é o meu inglês na sua prática, pronúncia e compreensão para aqueles que em São Carlos estejam querendo aprender inglês. Eis aqui o vosso professor. Como dizia Nietzsche, eis aqui o homem. Almost everything. After the war, Einstein, the towering figure who had unlocked the cosmic relationship between matter and energy and discovered the secret of the stars, found himself lonely and isolated. Almost all recent progress in physics had been made in the quantum theory, not in the unified field theory. In fact, Einstein lamented that he was viewed as a relic by other physicists. His goal of finding a unified field theory was considered too difficult by most physicists, especially when the nuclear force remained a total mystery. Einstein commented, "I'm generally regarded as a sort of petrified object, rendered blind and deaf by the ears. I find this role not too distasteful, as it corresponds fairly well with my temperament." In the past, there was a fundamental principle that guided Einstein's work. In special relativity, his theory had to remain the same when interchanging x, y, z, and t. In general relativity, it was the equivalence principle that gravity and acceleration could be equivalent. But in his quest for the theory of everything, Einstein failed to find a guiding principle. Even today, when I go through Einstein's notebooks and calculations, I find plenty of ideas but not guiding principles. He himself realized that this would doom his ultimate quest. He once observed sadly, "I believe that in order to make real progress, one must again ferret out some general principle from nature." He never found out. Einstein once bravely said that God is subtle but not malicious. In his later years, he became frustrated and concluded, "I have second thoughts. Maybe God is malicious." Although the quest for a unified field theory was ignored by most physicists, every now and then someone would try their hand at creating one. Even Erwin Schrödinger tried. He modestly wrote to Einstein, "You are a lion hunt, while I'm speaking of rabbits." Nevertheless, in 1947, Schrödinger held a press conference to announce his version of the unified field theory. Even Ireland's Prime Minister, Eamon de Valera, showed up. Schrödinger said, "I believe I'm right. I shall look an awful fool if I am wrong." Einstein would later tell Schrödinger that he had also considered this theory and found it to be incorrect. In addition, his theory could not explain the nature of electrons and the atom. Werner Heisenberg and Wolfgang Pauli caught the bug too and proposed their version of a unified field theory. Pauli was the biggest cynic in physics and a critic of Einstein's program. He was famous for saying, "What God has turned asunder, let no man put together." That is, if God had torn apart the force in the universe, then who were we to try to put them back together? In 1958, Pauli gave a talk at Columbia University explaining the Heisenberg's Pauli unified field theory. Bohr was in the audience after his talk. Bohr stood up and said, We in the back are convinced your theory is crazy. What divides us is whether your theory is crazy enough. This began a heated discussion with Pauli claiming that his theory was crazy enough to be true, while others said his theory was not crazy enough. Physicist Jeremy Bernstein was in the audience and he recalled it was an uncanny encounter of two giants of modern physics. I kept wondering what in the world a non-physicist visitor would have made of it. Bohr was right. The theory presented by Pauli would later be shown to be incorrect. But Bohr had actually hit upon something important. All the easy, obvious theories had already been tried by Einstein and his associates, and they all failed. Therefore, the true unified field theory must be radically different from all previous approaches. It must be crazy enough to qualify as a true theory of everything. Então, esse texto que eu acabei de ler aí do livro The God Equation, do Michio Kaku, é um livro que trata sobre a teoria do campo unificado da física, ou a teoria de campo unificado, que é a teoria de tudo, ou a teoria do tudo. Então, o Einstein, na época do Einstein, não era conhecido muito sobre a força nuclear, tá? Então, o Einstein ele queria unir a relatividade com o eletromagnetismo, mas a força nuclear ainda não era nem tão conhecida, tal, a força fraca, a força forte. E essa busca pela teoria unificada da física continua hoje ainda entre os físicos, e a parte mais difícil dela é unir a relatividade geral do Einstein com a mecânica quântica, porque a relatividade, aliás, a mecânica quântica já foi unida com o eletromagnetismo e com a relatividade, mas a mecânica quântica não se concilia com a relatividade do Einstein. Então, esse é um vídeo currículo para a cidade de São Carlos, estado de São Paulo, para aqueles estudantes universitários, não só de física, mas de filosofia, biologia, engenharia, matemática, que estejam dispostos a fazer aulas de inglês comigo. Podemos estar fazendo as aulas online mesmo, pelo Google Meet, né? O meu e-mail está embaixo na descrição do vídeo aí, junto com o que é a minha chave Pix. Se você tem interesse, eu cobro R$30 a hora por aula de inglês. E aí eu te ensino aquilo que eu sei, inclusive eu leio livros também, assisto filmes e não preciso ter muito esforço para fazer tradução. Um abraço então. Essa é a minha chamada para você que queira aprender inglês. Um abraço. My coffee, man. My coffee. Bye.